Hi, Julie. I'm so excited that you're joining Jenny's launch party for Usborne Books and More. I'm so excited to have her on my team. A little bit about me. My name is Heather Ann Hendrickson. I'm a team leader and educational services representative with Usborne Books and More. I'll be at the party tonight to help Jenny along, and I cannot wait to party with you and show you amazing books. You are new, and I love that. I love being able to introduce these books to people, and I know that you have an age range that you're looking at. I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of an overview about some of the most awesome books we have, since I don't have your kiddos' age or grandchildren's really interests. So I can't really narrow it down too much. We have 2,000 titles in our inventory, and so I wanted to just kind of mention a few little ones that are absolutely fantastic. I taught middle and high school science and math, so I'm familiar with our older kid books that are nonfiction. I've been doing this for 4 years, so I'm really familiar with all of the books, but those happen to be some of my absolute favorites. So I'll share some of those. I also wanted to let you know that we have an extensive collection of amazing chapter books. So check those out for those older ones too. So we're going to start with the youngest ones, and I want to just share with you a couple that are just absolutely fantastic that I love for that age. We are all about touchy-feely till about 4 years old. Why is that? Well, because kids are tactile learners. Those toddlers and preschoolers are going to be tactile learners. They're really going to want to touch and feel. So be sure to look for all books that are tactile. This is probably my absolute favorite new one. Of course, we have the That's Not My series that's still going to be working out for that 2-year-old. In fact, my kid, when he was 5, was actually reading the That's Not My books. So they are still being used in this house right now. Don't Tickle the Hippo, Don't Tickle the Lion, Don't Tickle the Bear, and Don't Tickle the Dinosaur. These are all phenomenal books. There's an on-off switch in the back. There is the touchy-feely section. It is repetitious, which we're looking for rhythm, rhyme, and repetition when we're doing early readers. So don't tickle the hippo, you might make it snort. I love the vocabulary building in here. Kids love that tactile movement, and the noise is phenomenal. Don't tickle the parrot, you might make him squawk. I love that it's going to go through the animals, give them kind of an idea of these animals that we don't really hear very often in children's books. So it's a really cute way to kind of introduce those sounds, but it's really super fun for younger kids to use. Another one of my favorites for that age, I'm really going to hit on 3 right here. This is Muddle and Match. This is a great storybook starting about 2.5. Going all the way up to about 5. My son and I would read this as bedtime stories. It is a phenomenal, cute little book with tongue twisters. Tilly Terrific, the turbocharged Titan, travels tirelessly through time to take a tasty taco to her tame T-Rex. It's great for also letting them hear that beginning sound repetitiously. I love that, but then watch what happens. They get to change the character and make it something completely different. And when that story gets read, as they get older, you can ask them to listen out for that sound change and tell you either what letter that sound changes to or just the sound itself. So I love these stories. They're wonderful. There are multiple ones in this series, so check those out. And then I wanted to mention one of our early learning. This is Dottie and Dash's 1, 2, 3. We also have Alfie and Bet's ABC. I love these because they represent a lot about what Usborne is for. This is a storybook, but it is nonfiction. It's going to introduce numbers. I love that there's a number line at the beginning that's going to highlight the number that you're working on. It's so cute, so many. But what I love most is it goes up past. So you're talking 3-year-old all the way up to a kindergartner, because now you're skip counting by tens, and then you're going up to the number 100. And it has that number of organisms or whatever it happens to be, objects on that page for them to count. So I like these too. Okay, now let's move on to picture books. We have so many. I'm only going to pull out 2 right now, but I wanted to share with you that picture books from our company go from babies, wonderful, wonderful products, all the way up through 7 or 8. Picture books are phenomenal. I wanted to show you kind of how ours stand out. A lot of our picture books are interactive. So this happens to be one in a series called This Is Frog. And Frog actually, we have to help Frog do things. Shall we help Frog jump by shaking the book up and down? And so kids can get involved. What that does is it helps them, their listening skills, their early listening skills. So this is perfect for that 3 and up, really all the way up to 5 and 6 years old. There's another one called I Say Ooh, You Say Ah that is perfect for kindergarten through 2nd grade. In fact, all of my kindergarten and 1st grade teachers buy a copy of that book when they see it. It is so phenomenal. I love it. Same idea, getting them involved. Now, I wanted to grab Nibbles because you're new to our company and Nibbles is probably one of our best loved characters. Nibbles is a book monster and he eats his way through books. What is great is it is interactive. It gets the kids involved in what they're doing. And of course, it's a rhyming story. It's so cute. He eats his way through the page, into the books, and then into these little individual fairy tales. And he changes the fairy tale story. These are for 4 and up, although little kids really love them too. So we have a Nibbles Numbers book. That's a board book for younger kids. And what's great is we get to catch him in the end and oops, he is now popped out of the book and he has a series. So there's 3 of these books. There's even a plush Nibbles that we love. My daughter has one upstairs. It's phenomenal. Okay, so I wanted to show you some interactive books because for me, one of my favorite parts of Usborne Books and More is our nonfiction interactive, particularly our flat books, but we have so many in that category. We have a questions and answers series. This will hit a large range for you as 2 to 12. These are geared towards 2 and 3-year-olds all the way up to about 5. Then we have, of course, our 3 and up and our 4 and up books. These are great for all of those questions that get asked. Why do I brush my teeth? This is the very first questions and answers series. Why do we poop? What's the potty for? What are germs? What are stars? So many different titles in that series, and I love that it meets the child where they are, talking about them actually brushing teeth and why that's important. But then it's also going to bring in the rest. So it takes that me-centric kid and it gets them kind of thinking outside of themselves, which is a really big concept to learn at a really young age. And then it takes them into the technology of it, the animal community, why don't they brush? So many great questions about development. And then of course, that all important trivia. And I just love this one. The massive blue whale has no teeth at all. So it tells you why. I love these books. That's the same kind of concept between, oops, let's see if I can get them, between all of these. This one is going to ask specific questions. What are feelings? What makes, okay, so it's going to take that idea, all of those things, and it's going to break them down. So it's all going to be about feelings, but those great questions that kids asked. And then, of course, we have things like this, questions and answers about plastic, questions and answers about the body, about weather, so many different topics in here. And this is going to be broken down into who, what, why, when, and how. Why are these so important? Well, because small chunks of information instead of a wall of information is more accessible to younger kids. Now, when I say that, it doesn't mean that that's something where only younger kids can use it. It's just that it is more accessible. And why do I say that not just younger kids can use it? Well, because we have things like this. This is our Lift the Flap series, multiplying and dividing, fractions and decimals, so many different ones that you would be getting 3rd and 4th grade information. It breaks it down in a way that kids can understand it a lot better than just learning from a textbook. We have so many different books that help kids break things down in a way that might not be taught to them in a textbook, and they get a joy out of it because they feel like they've connected and they get it. And I just absolutely love that. So that was one of our Lift the Flap books. We have so many in the different series. This is how your body works. So many great ones in here, just absolutely fantastic, where you get to take a look at each part of the brain. So many different parts of the body that are discussed in here. In fact, one of my son's favorite was See Inside Your Body. We're going to get to the See Insides in a second. And he started that at 4, even though it's for 5 and up. He started it at 4, and he's using it in his anatomy studies at 8. So it's definitely a book that moves along with you. This happens to be a book with a note in it. This happens to be Lift the Flap Periodic Table. This is one of our newer ones, and this is actually probably one of my favorites because, of course, I taught science science and math. So these are phenomenal books. I would have used this in my high school chemistry class. When I pre-sold it, I had a ton of people purchase it that were high school teachers, just because they absolutely loved the novelty of it and their kids could really understand the material. Usborne likes to take material that's up here and present it down here so kids can digest it more easily. Doesn't mean the material has changed at all. Unlike some people who they read their books and they're like, I already know this is so boring. Well, this is material that's up here that you probably don't know, and they break it down for you to go down here. Here's See Inside Atoms and Molecules. Again, same idea. These are for 7 and up. They are phenomenal ways to just get that information across in a fun, engaging way. We even have one for 5 and up. This is what happens when you eat. This is the Look Inside series. Same idea. Not all of our books are about body. These just happen to be the ones that I pulled off the shelf. I'm just now realizing that. Okay, so we're gonna stick on that nonfiction train because I think that's something that we really love here at Usborne Publishing. This is Real Life Mysteries. Real Life Mysteries is actually a Kane Miller published book. Now, Kane Miller and Usborne Publishing are two companies that Usborne Books and More are made up of. In fact, Usborne Publishing is a UK company, and Kane Miller actually takes people, authors from all around the world, and brings them together into their publishing house. And so we get to sell both of those companies' books, and they're phenomenal. I like Real Life Mysteries. Any kid who's like 7 and up is gonna love these if they're into anything kind of like out there. These are like UFOs or sea monsters, and they're going to take, what's really cool is they take that information and they kind of present both sides, and they leave it up to the kid to really understand and to make their own decisions. Or things like the Book of Comparisons. I love the Book of Comparisons for 8 and up. It takes a look at so much information and really compares different things like miniature marvels. All these little tiny creatures. What the Earth's biggest creatures often hog the headlines, but small scale animals deserve attention too. How cool is that? The littlest ones out there. Survival stories, so many different things in that book. Okay, now, learning at home, homework helpers, things like our illustrated dictionary, phenomenal. We have first illustrated encyclopedias, and then we have these big guys. This is the Usborne Science Encyclopedia. We have world history and geography. They're phenomenal, and what I love is these guys have the UPC code, and you click on that. It's every other page. It's going to have a UPC code about that particular topic. And what's really cool is you're going to have this great amount of information that's going to be presented to you in the book for a primary resource, and then you have your secondary resources already available right there. Or things like this, Our History of the World in 100 Pictures, great for 10 and up. The material in here is phenomenal. Reading level is about that level as well. And then of course, the big picture books. These are amazing. The material in here is perfect for elementary and middle school. Love, love, love these books. Okay. Last but not least, I do want to mention some of we talked about chapter books, but we're not going to mention too much about chapter books, but these are a little bit different. This is our color illustration series. These are so cool, introduction to chapter books. I absolutely love that these make great longer story books. In fact, I've actually had a lot of grandmothers purchase these for their grandkids for them to read while they're over at their house, which I think is phenomenal. Then we have gift books. So things like Little Women. This is our illustrated original series. Another one that we have that I didn't grab. Same thing, it's illustrated series. This is our ballet stories. And what's great, this one, they're padded covers. There's multiple ones in this series. And then of course, there is that beautiful ribbon bookmark. And then for those kids that don't like to read but love graphic novels, check this out. Usborne Graphic Legends and Graphic Originals. This is Jason and the Argonauts, which is amazing. We also have stories like Alice in Wonderland that are just absolutely fantastic, but they're written in a graphic novel style without losing a lot of the content. So I hope this helps you to know kind of what Usborne Books and More is all about. We have so many more, and you'll see so many more tonight. One of the things that I wanted to point out was kind of more of the fun, educational things that you're going to see. You're going to see a lot more gift style things tonight, so I cannot wait. Talk with you soon.